All right, the hour being after 7 o'clock, having a full board, open the meeting. First item, minutes, September 21st. I have a motion.
No.
We don't have the minutes yet. It's on there, but we haven't seen the minutes.
Okay, in the word of Rosanna, Dana. Never mind. All right. Well, we're past 7:05, so you made me get up to time there, Kate. I'll be at 7:05. We have continued public hearing for 2304 Kearsarge North Street.
Good evening, everyone. Rob Bukowski with Westland Sampson, representing Kearsarge. So since the last meeting, we've been working back and forth with Chief Barry. One of the things is, as you know, that the chair mentioned last hearing, was that he wanted the access road to be asphalt. So we've done that. We've added it to our plans. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Do you want me to move this?
No, that, I don't, everybody see it?
Yeah.
So the main things that we've done is we've widened the access way here to accommodate the fire trucks turning, both coming south and coming north, so that part of the fire truck doesn't cross the center line of North Street. That was one of the requirements that he wanted us to look at. So we've completed these. The other thing he wanted us to add was to put a barrier at the end of the access road so that the ladder that sticks out off the front of the fire truck wouldn't swing and potentially hit any panels. So we added bollards here, and we removed some of the parts of the tables here, so it's a 15-foot minimum setback from the end of the road to the panels. So essentially, the edits that we've made since the last hearing we had a couple weeks ago were to accommodate the fire chief's request.
I have a bunch of stuff. I'll go to the most recent from Paul Barry Fire Chief, and this was at 5:10 today. It says, "Good morning, thank you for getting back to us. Unfortunately, analysis shows access that does not comply with CMR 5271. Is that what you're saying it does?
Yeah, so this is what we finished today.
It is today, but he hasn't said yes or no, right?
We sent him back to him. We did not hear back. I know Dan tried to call him a couple times this afternoon, too.
All right, so we don't have the A-OK from the fire chief, right? And the next one, he has concerns about proximity of the panels to the end of the new access road and proper protection. I think that's what you just indicated. You're putting bollards there. And he wanted to advise the minimum vertical clearance of the panels and in the distance between the panels and the access road. While we're not driving under it, we ensure that the overhang of the bucket tower is protected when turning. So, right now, you've answered what he had, but we don't have
His reply.
okay, right?
Right.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna have to wait for that. Can you get it by next time?
I hope so. We've called him, we've emailed him. I mean, we can't force him to respond. He's been pretty responsive when we send him
Okay.
stuff, so we're hopeful that we'll have
It
it.
seems like you're just down to these three items that you're showing the plans you corrected, and now it's just the deputy, fire chief, Paul Barry, just to give him the A-OK. I think that was the only one we had, unless, John, did you have any questions or comments?
No, well, we got this new message from Sewer and Water.
Yeah, I mean, once again, they've had plenty of time. Not a big fan of day late and a dollar short, but they did indicate something, right? If you could read it, John, I don't have it in front of me.
To Planning Board from John Hassanyaga, Chair, Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners, dated September 28th, 2023. Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners discussed the above referenced subject at their last meeting on September 25th, 2023. Commission has the following comments. The board would like to review the easement and its metrics, perimeters, and conditions. The water line cuts through the property, so no solar panels or structures on the easement. Also, we would need access to the gate and padlocks with keys that the town has to make repairs if necessary. Now, I don't agree with the plan if the easement's already not covered up by things. I'm assuming
No,
easement.
there's no
There's no-
panels on the easement, and we have put, per their request, there's monumentation that will go at the angle points on the easement, and then we've also provided a gate,
which you can actually see right here. This is the easement just south of the access road. And we've added a gate here and be happy to provide them the combination.
So it may sound like you just want to get touch base with them, just so they can come back and say it's all set.
Yeah, you already show it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We included that in the response to comments, too, at our
Yeah,
last.
just, I'm sure you can go down and see, and might have to come to fire chief and just bless it like that. Because I know we did talk about when you can't put anything on the easement. that
Right.
Yeah,
you
I
have to
didn't
run
think
it.
there was.
And we've modified that. Is it possible to get a copy of that letter sent to us?
Yeah.
This was sent to us.
Yeah, cash?
Take Venmo?
No. No, Venmo, there's a trace. Yeah, we can give you a copy.
All right, thanks.
Did that come to you, Kate? Email? Kate will email it to you
Okay,
if that's all
great.
right.
Thank you.
She takes Venmo. I think, Phil, did you have anything?
No, nothing additional
Kate?
to this.
Nope,
And Paul?
pretty
All
clear.
right, yeah, so if you could just wrap those two up, and we can put you on for next time, Kate.
Yeah, it's October 19th, we'll do 7:05.
7:05, you'll be first one on.
Perfect.
Get them, if we get, would be better if we get the letters ahead of time.
We'll push.
Yeah. Okay, it just sounds like he missed something, but he's also running a little short-handed.
Have we received that?
That plan?
Yeah.
That one, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, you adding anything to it?
No, this was just done today. I can leave these if you want.
Could you give us another plan? I mean, with them all there and drop it off next
Yeah.
week?
So, do you want, I have 3 hard copies.
We'll take those.
You want them?
Yeah, you can always send a PDF later.
Yeah, so we did have, I think I CC'd you, Kate, on what we sent to the chief, but
Okay.
those plans there that show the turning exhibits, they're not really design plans, but these show the extended entranceway. So those PDFs you should have.
Can you approve it on that, or do you need a?
No, they're gonna have to, everything's gonna have to come back for the next meeting, so we have it.
We're hoping that this is still the final set. We just need to
Okay.
get the chiefs.
Yeah, and if you get it, and if it is the final set of minor modifications, we'll just have engineering like we do all the time, just to, they're the guys who can go back and forth. Just bring it to them, okay?
So if there are no changes, do you need more? Just these 3 hard copies is good?
If there are no changes.
Yeah.
Okay, and if there are, we'll
Yep, okay. All right, so we all set? We'll continue this October 19th at 7:05.
And I
You
don't
need to
need a-
extend?
Yeah, we need extension, or? No?
Go through October 31st.
Oh, okay, they're coming to our Halloween party. All right.
What are you gonna dress as?
You got me right now. Doesn't get any better than that, so. At least that's what I've been told, so. All right, see you 2 weeks?
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Absolutely, go.
Thank you, Paul.
Hi, you want a piece of
Take a whole bunch.
7, we have the 104 Main?
Continue.
Yeah.
Jack, want a piece of candy?
Oh, is this the one you gave me too?
Does Jack do
He
candy?
complained about the end.
He complains about candy?
Yeah.
I think I just gave my stuff with us already. All right. We're gonna rock, the next one, 104 Main Street, site plan approval, continued hearing. We had a continued hearing, and on the parking lot expansion, and they've asked for another continuance. They want to wait till they're done with the zoning board. So what I have in front of me dated September 21st, the Ardent Group has applied for site plan at 104 Main, and as it's writing, they don't have their special permit. The next hearing is November 1st, therefore they would like to request continuance with no testimony until Thursday, no testimony, I'm sorry, for October 5th, and they would like to extend the review period to December 31st, 2023. So make a motion to allow them up through December 31st, 2023.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. And since they don't get off until November 1st, Kate, doesn't make sense to have anything in October, so,
So you want to do November 2nd?
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, November 2nd.
7:15?
Okay, 7:15, we'll continue this public hearing, November 2nd at 7:15. Thank you, and take care of that, and, oops. We've been here in kindness, an hour and a half, did not find this down there.
Right?
Not find it, I went down to look for this,
You did? Okay.
right before I came in. Took me, I was there like an hour going through everything.
Okay. It's right there.
Do I get anything for this?
Yeah.
Or I can fake it.
This is new.
Do. Okay. With the hour being after 7:10,
7:15?
sorry, yeah, okay, sorry, 7:15, we'll hold a public meeting for Arcadia Brothers LLC, 1620 Hyde Park Ave, Hyde Park, Mass, case 2306, with respect to property at 120 South Street, for 120 South Street Realty Trust, 400 East Street, Walpole, Mass. Said property is 126 South Street, shown on Assessors Map 33, parcels 35 and 36, and the zoning district LM. The applicant is seeking site plan of Section 13 to allow the construction of a 12,000 square foot, one-story flex building and associated parking, drainage and utilities, titled Site Development Plan by Bay Colony Group. And with that, it is open, and I think you've been here before, but it's the way we run it, and anybody in the audience is, we'll let the applicant explain what he's doing. I'll read any of the comments from any boards or anybody else who sent stuff in. The board will ask questions at the end. Everybody's gonna get a shot to ask questions.
I have one question I want to bring up first.
What?
I don't know if that's- I mentioned it to Kate when I came in, the parcels listed in the application and in the notice
Yeah,
do not match the parcels in the map.
did it? Okay. Did you hear what John was saying?
Already asked me, the application said,
The application
What
says
you have in
35
front
and
of you.
36, as the notice in the paper says. Their map lists as parcels 135 and 136. Now, I don't know,
so I'm not
Can you
sure.
check on these?
I have to go with what they give me, which was 35 and 36.
Yeah, that's fine, but, it's 30,
was there notification needed for butters for this?
yeah. Is there, okay, so I understand, they gave you an app for 35 and 36, right? What you're saying is the assessors gave us something different?
I don't know what
The-
this,
on the
she's
map,
saying
it shows
that
one.
that the plan says differently.
Oh, the plan says, okay.
plan says something
All right, the
different.
plan, yeah,
I don't know if
no,
that's.
the plan shouldn't matter because
That's
this is for the notice and they gave us the right application. So this would be just somebody screwed up.
Well, that depends if the plan is correct and their notice is right.
Well,
Carl's going up to check.
Yeah, because the other property shows as
Because it's
134.
only subdivision.
oh, I get you, okay.
135.
Looks like the
Yeah,
map is
all right.
right
134.
and the notice-
Because that other
Gotcha.
property is 134 on it.
We notify the abutters in the cards.
In which case, it
And
might
then we have to check
require,
the list to make
be
sure
noticing
everything
it.
is someone.
That's, what do you got from Dennis? Did it,
I have a lot from Dennis.
yeah, probably another heavy tax increase for me.
This came from Dennis.
I'm mad I only went up 30% this year.
Because if they did that based on 34 and 35.
Yeah, I'm looking down here, John, everything's on South Street, where it should be in actually the town.
I think there's one on Cascade Terrace, and there's a couple on,
Yeah. We got Oak Street.
Cascade Terrace.
uh,
Sorry?
I got
Cascade
south,
Terrace?
south,
it's down to the back.
south.
Where's that?
uh,
Cascade Terrace.
addresses, yeah.
South School Street, but that's the town. Lamplighter, which is around the corner.
That's the lamplighter.
Yep, Lamplighter.
The lamplighter is on their map, yeah.
Yeah, South Street, Oak Street, McDonald Circle. Wow. Was that far?
What is it?
It's screwy.
I know. Oak Street, I don't even know. Oh, never mind, I know what it is. They own a unit there.
So the application.
Okay, that's what happened. They own a couple of units in that building. Lamplighter, okay, so appears,
Says it in the letter, too.
Right.
That's what it should be.
So does this mean that this is false? Application?
That's the one that's sticking on there.
So the application, does this mean?
was it,
It is 135 and 136.
The application's wrong.
yep,
Now, the zoning might be pretty much the same. I'm not sure how far those two
Yeah, but-
lots might be apart, but
okay.
I'm looking at the
Is that what
abutters
it
list.
that's based on the application.
Chairman, I'm looking at the abutters list that was included from it, and it's 120 South Street, it's listed as parcel 33 and 135. And then the other abutters list we were given were 126 South Street, listed as parcel 133 and 136. So it's correct, the people within
people were
300 feet were notified of that.
But the ad's wrong. The abutters were properly noticed, but the,
Yeah, and it says, well, it actually says the property,
It's listed right there.
yeah, it's listed there. So how did Dennis, how do you get it right then?
Well,
but they
Dennis
give them
based it
something
on the
separate,
address,
so
I don't know.
whatever they filled out the form,
Oh,
it's.
when you gave the assessor, you
Our
must,
mistake, if we filled out the application, it's
but you
35
must have give the
36.
assessor just the street addresses, right? That's the only way, because if you gave him
Yep,
map
that's-
33, he would have been, or parcel 35, 36, he would have been scratching his head.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, now, yeah, I'm looking down here, and everybody is 33 for the map. And, okay, so the only thing that's wrong is what's written on here, lots 135, 136, correct?
135 and 136 are correct.
Should be,
yes.
that's correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so the application
Application.
itself,
They submitted.
The advertised,
This here, check.
But,
The application and the ad.
It's just that it's,
but it gives the property at 120,
the street address is correct.
yeah, okay. But it went to all the abutters,
correct,
correct?
Yes.
yes.
All right. I don't see a big issue with this, because everybody's been, the thing is, you address the address, and you address the abutters. Assessors map, I don't think people go by that anyway, but, so I think we're all set to roll with it.
Should they refile the application just to have the right information on it?
Or we can make note in the decision of that, to say that, the application was wrong.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, the whole purpose is to make sure everybody knows, and I assume with the people here, everybody knew, and I'm looking at everybody lives on the street, and it's 120 South, 126, so we should be good to go. So, that being said, if you want to show us the project?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Bill Buckley. I work for Bay Colony Group, and I'm here representing the applicants, Arcadia Brothers. So as you stated in the application, we're here before the board for a site plan approval for this project, which is located at 120, 126 South Street. So it's two parcels of land that contain a single-family house, 126 South Street, and then the other building is about a 13,400 square foot, some type of commercial building. It's in significant disrepair. And the property is located, I think if you can see this, or look at the site plan, this is Lamplighter Lane over here on the other side of the street. So this is on the east side of the road. It backs up against the rail trail, the town rail trail. And the Ponce River is to the right as you're looking at the drawing, and then it loops around to the left outside of our vision here, again, as you're looking at the drawing. So the topography of the site is, it's relatively flat along the front of the building, along South Street. It's about 182 is the elevation. And then if you're standing there looking up, you can see how it rises up toward the buildings, and then the house sits relatively high too. It's about a 5 or 6 foot rise in that area, and then it drops back down in the back. So the elevation of the South Street and the elevation of the rail trail in the back are almost identical, about within a foot of each other. So it's kind of odd when you look at it, you say it comes up, but then if you go down in the back, you can see that it comes out. And that was probably all added in there when they constructed those two buildings. As I stated, the Neponset River is to the right and to the top, as you're looking at the drawing, to the east and the north. So you can see in that light green there, as we're showing, there is bordering vegetated wetlands that are part of it. We've been before the Conservation Commission, and they didn't close the hearing, of course. We'll be going back to see them again in November. So what we're proposing here is the construction of a 12,000 gross square foot flex building, and we're calling it a flex building because we're not really sure, we don't have a use yet. But what we've done is it's set up so that it can be split into as many as 6 different elements, as you can see it. And then also it could be one building, or it could be 2, it could be whatever. So that's what we mean by flex building. It's flexible on what could be happening there, how many users. We've had, or our clients have had discussions with contractors, have had discussions actually with a dance studio who were talking about it. Nothing has been decided yet, to my knowledge, last time we spoke to them. But we're using parking code 4, which fits actually both of those uses. So it's 1 parking space per 500, which means that we would need for this size building 24 spaces. And we're showing 31 spaces. We have spaces along the front and then some spaces along the rear of the building. The site is going to be served by 2 driveways. If you go there now, it's kind of, as you look at it to the left, it's fenced in. The driveway to the home is to the right. Then there's another driveway to the commercial building to the left of that. What we're proposing is 2 driveways here, one on the north side over here, one on the south side there. Both driveways will be at least 24 feet wide, which means they'll be able to handle 2-way traffic without any problem there. It will allow access around the building, as you can see. So what we're showing is access all the way around the building, these 24 foot around the building. So again, that's for accessible, a fire department ladder truck, if it chose to go around there, it could get through there. If you look at sheet 7 in our site plan set, we've given you a template of the Walpole Tower and how it can get around there. So we've done, it's actually a great location because it's on the outside of a curve. You see how the roadway is curving like this? It gives it great sight distance in both directions. So we have over 500 feet of sight distance in either direction from either driveway, which is adequate for this type of traffic in this area, and the speed in this area. We did an approximate estimate of number of trips, and what we used was the contractor bay's use, and we estimate about 60 trips per day, excuse me, and for peak hour, 9 trips. Now, that doesn't mean that there's going to be 60 trips, new trips per day, because this facility already has trips. The home was, the last time I was there, occupied, and there is a business being run out of that, not physically from the building, but they're certainly going in and out dumping things. So it's 60 trips as a maximum per day, but really that's not really what it is, because there's currently trips. To give you some idea what that's like, Mass DOT is estimated on this street, South Street, 4,500 trips per day. If you go to the Mass DOT website, you can look at it and they'll give you their estimate for trips per day. So it's less than 1%. We've done a landscape plan on it, that's sheet L1 if you look at it. And what we've done there is we've tried to break up the building as you look at it, but we still want to see the building from the front. So we put this element in this area here, we put trees, there's 11 trees, some shrubs, some low branches in there, so it will break it up as you're looking at it driving by, but you'll still be able to see the building. There's low plantings in front, you can kind of see the green space. So there's the parking, there's the sidewalk, and then there's a green space, except for the sidewalks going into each of the bays. That will be a green area, and again, if you look at that, we show some low plantings along the front of the building there. Along this side here, we're proposing along the rear, along the rail trail. They're proposing a 6-foot-high, solid stockade fence, vinyl fence along the rear there, and that is for security and for visual. There's a lot of activity along the back there. It's worth noting, I think, that if you look at the plan, you can see the gray, and I know it's hard to see, it's shaded out,
Very.
but you can see the gray here, and then there's a Jersey barrier wall back here. So if you went back there, you'd say, oh, the Jersey barrier wall is the property line. It's not. The property line is almost to the rear of the building. So this activity will be significantly, probably about, I think it's close to 30 feet. 30 feet closer than that. Is that a 20? That's 30 feet. So if you went back there, if you took a walk back there, you'd see the barrier, the Jersey barriers. What we're proposing on staying on our property is 30 feet closer to the building. So that area will go back to, after it's cleaned up.
But you're not
be
doing
used.
anything with the Jersey barrier, because
No,
that's
those
not
are-
on your property.
Those are on the town's property, and I think the town put them up. I'm not sure, though. So that will be along the rear there, that 6-foot-high fence. We have a lighting plan, that's sheet LT1, if you take a look at it. All the lights will be on the building, so there'll be lights over each of the garage doors. In the back, again, there's about 6 of them. There'll be several lights on the side of each side of the building to light the driveway around it. And in the front, again, there's lighting there as well. The lights will be anywhere from 6 to 15 feet above the ground, be lighting above the door, and then on the sides it'll be 10, and then in the rear it's 15, in order to be above the garage doors. If you look at the photometric plan, you can see we have LED lighting, it's dark sky compliant, and there is no wash off the property. It's no illumination, no lumens off the property. We've done, we did a significantly, right now, the stormwater on the site, there is none. So what happens is everything that hits that site is going off. It goes off toward South Street, it goes back toward the rail trail, or it goes off to the north, which is quite a significant drop-off from the site. So what we've done is we went out and we did some soil testing, witnessed by the town engineer, talked about how we would do the stormwater management on the site, and what we come up with, because the soils are good in that area, is we have a system that has 2 major components of it. The first is down here in the southeast corner. It's an underground drainage system, and what that will do is we're going to capture all the roof runoff, and it will be channeled into that. That's considered clean because it's not a metal roof, and it's not a flat metal roof, and it's not touching any pavement. So we're going to separate that runoff and put it into the ground in that area there. And that is also considered a low-impact development element. The other piece of the puzzle is this above-ground basin over here located on the north side of the building. And what that area will do is we're going to capture the runoff from the parking lot. So that will go into there, and what will happen there, it gets regular old catch basin manhole pipe system. Just before it goes into the basin, it will go through a water quality structure, which will further clean it, knock out the total suspended solids and the total phosphorus, and then it will infiltrate into that basin. Both of these basins are designed to capture and infiltrate up to the 100-year storm, the 1% event storm. So there should be no runoff for either one of them. There is some runoff from the site, and that would be from this area over here, which is going in that direction, which we're not capturing. But right now, for the most part, most of that area is paved. It's either paved or gravel. So we'll be taking that area, which is mostly, or maybe half paved and gravelled, and grassing it. And so you'll have less runoff going in there. So it meets the town standards as far as clean water, total suspended solids. It meets the town standards for rate of runoff, and it meets the town standards for volume of runoff. And I think I'll stop right there, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, I'll read what I have. from the Board of Health on 9/20/23. They voted unanimously that they have no concerns. However, they recommend recycling be provided for tenants in order to comply with the mass waste ban. From the police, Officer Luke Pollan, dated September 4th. They don't like the new neighbors.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
I received that tonight.
Yeah. They don't see any concern. I would hope not. So, being down the thing. I'm sorry, Kate, what?
I've just received that tonight at 5 o'clock.
Oh, from Officer Pollan, okay. Sewer and water, they do not have any comments at this time. Well, yeah, okay. We don't wait for them, I don't know what their comments would be, but you're gonna be on both water and sewer, so
sir.
show the hookups, all right. Let's see if I have anything else. No, the last one I got is Kyle. You wanna do yours?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I delivered a memorandum to the board dated September 26, 2023. There were 23 comments on there. And I listened to Mr. Buckley's presentation, agree with what he said, particularly his recap of the drainage. The planning board memo doesn't contain drainage comments. We reviewed for the Concom first, and they have the drainage comments. There are some, but I agree with the summary. This is, they've got good soils. And on the day that we were testing, Mr. Buckley actually redesigned the drainage design on the hood of the truck based on the results that we found on the testing. So I was familiar with that, and it's a good drainage design. Out of my memo, out of my 23, there's just a couple of comments I want to point out to the board. I've made some comment number 6. I've talked about relocating the dumpster pad at the end of the building to improve turning movement into the northerly units. The very northeast corner of the building, you can see that the aisle that goes behind the building is fairly narrow, and that's the end of the building that the garage doors are going to be on, and that you would need a maneuver to get into them. So I've made some comments there. I guess they're soft comments because there's really no guidance in our site plan regulations or anything for this sort of thing, to try and increase the maneuverability on that corner of the building. And I've also suggested in comment 7, eliminating some parking spaces in that same location to increase the maneuverability. That really all has to do with circulation and whatnot. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of places to relocate spaces on that site. It's pretty tight. And then on comment 19, I've commented that, where there's snow storage is shown on the plan, and we pay varying degrees of attention to snow storage, but it's also shown in the same area where there's quite a bit of landscaping shown on the landscape plan. And then comment 21, I'm asked for some input from the board and some institutional history, and said the landscaping plan appears to show landscaping out in the right-of-way on South Street. And basically, I've said we don't want the landscaping in the right-of-way. We don't want it to interfere with sight distance, and it's not really a feature of public ways to have landscaping other than normal shoulders. But the zoning, Section 8 on parking, also has a section which talks about landscaping at entrances. And I don't know what the board has done with this in the past. This will come up in another site plan that we'll see in a couple of weeks as well. So that's all my comments, and I'll turn it over. If you want to discuss that, that's fine.
Okay, in a second, one we're missing, and you kind of tagging on to Kyle, you're gonna have to get something from the fire department, because you heard what before went on with the solar panels, and if Kyle's saying it's tight now for a truck, well, we're gonna have it be even tighter, so that before you would do anything, I recommend you get with the fire chief and say, because if you move something, what Kyle's saying may not work for the fire chief.
Okay.
Okay, so that, I just want to make sure you had that. So with that being said, I'll start. John, do you have any comments on this?
No, in a similar nature, looking at the truck turning radius plan, the same issue that they brought up with the solar panel area. The truck is going into the opposite lane to make these turns. So I don't think that, unless it can be shown that the truck isn't going in the opposite lane as it makes the turns, they'll probably have an issue with that. One general comment, looking at our copies of the map, it's very difficult to tell where the site boundaries are. If you could darken up the lines that actually delineate the property. So it's my understanding, the area where the retention basin is right now, it's paved, so that'll be changing,
It's
okay,
either paved, gravel, or a building.
okay. Parking lot. I know one area here where you mark, what did it say? One of the parking lots, 10 feet by 18.5 feet typical. Is that to indicate that all the parking slots are that size?
Yes.
Is that sufficient, or does that need to be addressed further?
I think that's a zoning requirement.
The size of all the lots, as long as it's marked in one and it says it's typical, that satisfies.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is too early, but assuming the health department anyways is gonna wanna know what chemicals might be stored in these buildings
Is this-
above normal household.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like,
Do you know, I'm not off the top of my head what zone this is in, resource protection?
It's not
Not
in,
in it?
not
Oh,
in it.
this is it? Wow, not by much though, right?
Correct.
So the presence of chemicals on site may be needed. I would like to see something showing the distance between the wetlands and the property, and the wetlands and the building, whatever, just so we can get a frame of reference as to how close it is.
Yeah, I will, I'll change the color, but if you look at this drawing, this line here is the 200 foot from the river is right here,
Yeah,
in that area there, and then the buffer zone only it cuts in,
cuts in the corner.
cuts in, cuts in down here. But I'll darken that, or change the color.
You can see it's existing. They didn't redraw it, just
Just-
yeah, copy.
The back corner is going to be a retaining wall, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and let's see. What is the height of that?
so it is, if you go to sheet 3.0, at the corner there, it's 7 feet high.
Okay,
And then it goes down to 6 over to the, so it's 7, 6, and then down in this here, it dives down to 0.
that's because that's where the drop-off begins to
Yes.
slope down, okay. Turning, and the snow storage areas, could you indicate that on the map so it's clear?
Yeah, so if you go to sheet, I'll show you, but it's, go to sheet 6.1. And we're showing snow storage along the front here, along the side here, and that's it.
Okay, so that's in that area.
Because what we're doing is this is a slope, it's a pretty steep slope here, dumpster here, so we'll just need to relook at that based on Kyle's comments.
Because I think I was looking at that one, and I saw the square feet and then the cubic feet, and the one out towards the South Street side, the numbers didn't seem to be in agreement. You'd think from square feet to cubic feet, you're multiplying by 3, and that doesn't seem to be the case.
So it's
on the front.
a square foot is the area that we're using,
Yeah,
and then we pile it up at a 1-to-1 slope. So it's not just a rectangle. So it's a 1-to-1 slope. So you have to calculate the area of that.
okay, so it isn't just 3 feet high, or
No.
is it square feet or square?
No, it's not
Okay.
just,
So it piled up higher in the middle?
yeah, there's a slope to it, and then it slopes down.
I'll note that that's a first. We've rarely seen a calculation on snow storage.
On volume, right, yeah.
What do we base it on?
I got that from Canada. Some consultant asked me about it once, and so I went online, and some Canadian smart consultant had that information, so I copied it.
On the snow storage on the north side, I guess, between
Yes.
that and the neighboring building, is there a dividing wall of any sort in between the two properties?
There's a fence.
Okay, so that's, the snow will pile up against the fence, it won't fall into the other person's property, okay. I believe that's all for the moment,
Okay.
thank you.
Phil?
Yeah, could you put a list of waivers on the cover sheet, or, because you are asking for some, right, for the traffic study and other. On sheet 3,
Sorry?
on sheet 3, what is the right of way that's along parcel 134 there? Is that on their land or on your land?
Yeah, it shows up on a plan. And but it doesn't say who it runs in favor of or anything like that. So we just show it, but I don't know who it runs in favor of. And you can see how in the back it just ends. See in the back of the neighbor next door, it just ends right there. So I don't know.
But is it on your property line?
Yes.
Right, is that your
Yeah.
property?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on our
Yeah,
property, but it
okay.
runs in
Just a
favor
right
of
of way.
somebody.
But your fence will be then just on the side of that then?
The fence is already there, and it's right on the neighbor's property line, and just a foot inside.
And on the handicap parking, so you got the striped spaces on the side, right?
Yes.
It just wasn't clear, does the ramp go down on that striped area? Is that what it is?
I had the same question.
Yeah, is it, where's the ramp go down?
Where does the ramp go down?
Yeah,
So, Bill, is the curb flush in that area, or is it a raised curb with a drop, with essentially a ramp to the unloading area?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I
that was one of
couldn't
your
understand it
comments.
either. It's also in my
Is that
comments.
the one that says wheelchair ramp?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wheelchair ramp, so
It
it's
needs a
gotta
couple
be
of spot grades,
made into the sidewalk, right?
yes.
And then on the back side of the parking spaces, so it looks like you have some striped spaces there as well. Are those just for, if I'm reading this right, for example, where you have you have 7 parking spaces, and then you have just a striped area. Is that going to be
Yes.
landscaped, or is that just
No, it's just a striped out area.
just to make a space?
I think, I could be wrong, you would know better than me, I think there's a section of the bylaw that limits the number
Oh, yeah, if you
right.
limit the number, yeah.
in a row, so we didn't do that.
Yeah, so you could landscape some of those, or do, if you're gonna have empty space like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we
something,
could.
Make it
That's a good idea.
no more. And then on the two entrances, you should probably put a stop bar, painted stop bar, or stop sign. And you might want to put arrows showing that you can enter both, you can, that it's an enter and exit. Because that's what it sounds like you're doing. You're making it, you can exit and enter either one.
Yep, that was
So maybe we just add
Carl's
some-
comments as well.
And then are you going to have a sign somewhere
Yes,
for the building? Is that on the
It shows it on
plan?
the very front somewhere on the landscape
yeah,
plan.
it's on, where is it?
shows up on L1 as a little, I'm not sure if it's on any of the bigger plans or not.
I thought we submitted that.
This goes to the back here.
Oh, yeah, sign. Yeah, could you give the dimensions on the sign then? Because we have,
I can, and I thought
we
I
have
gave, I thought I
dimensional
gave a detail of it, but I'm
rules. Yeah.
obviously not. Yep, okay.
And then you said, so where the drop-off is, there could be a fence there, and that corner where John was talking about. And then as we go from there towards South Street, and again, that's along the right-of-way, there is fence there too, as well, the whole,
So it will not be, there is a fence on top of it. There's a 4-foot black vinyl fence on top of the wall.
okay.
The wall is there, and then we put a vinyl fence on top of it. And then that wraps around the basin.
Now, have you talked to the neighbor at 134, I think it's 134? It's the house right besides the,
Parcel 134.
yeah, parcel 134.
I personally have not.
I don't know whether, was there, I was just wondering about screening, or what their feelings were about that, or anyway, just to be sensitive to that. And I don't know, that's the way it is now, so it may not be a big deal, but just was wondering about that. I mean, I think the plan is good, and I think it's gonna be it'll be good for South Street to
Sure.
to have new construction. But then on the parking, yeah, so the parking, if it's zone 5, parking, it would be 24 spots. If it was 4, it would be, you could have up to 60. So if you're in between, it would be, depending how you use the base. And then the snow storage, what happens if would you take snow off-site if you ran out of space?
They would have to,
Yeah.
because we don't want them to put it in the basin. That kills it.
So
They
all
would
the
have to
snow is
remove-
going to get moved to those 2 areas?
Yes.
Yeah, so like Carl said, that's in the landscape area, so you may need to address that to,
Yep.
and maybe make a note that the snow would be stored off-site. I couldn't see if it was a note there somewhere.
That's a good idea.
Just make a note that that's what you would do. And then I totally support the recycling bin from the health board. And then just a question, this isn't really just a question, we don't really have a say over these things, but are you planning to do any solar panels on the roof or anything, take advantage of the?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know what the plan is on that.
Yeah, but it is an opportunity, for the owner if they want to consider that. And then the fire truck turning is, as we said, is always a big thing. So that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Kate?
This might be a strange question, but considering the history on that street, has the soil's obviously been tested, there's no contamination?
Yeah, that was, they did a phase 1 and a phase 2, which means they sunk a bunch of monitoring wells and pulled samples, and there was no, I won't say there's no contamination, because I don't know that, but there was no contaminations of above reportable levels. So there's always something, but
And so you obviously don't know who you're renting to yet, you said that, and you're not sure if it's gonna be 6 or 1 or 2 or whatever. Will you still have the same number of front doors and garage doors regardless of what turns out? Or are you just going ahead with that, or are you gonna wait and see who you're renting to, or
I
you're just gonna
don't.
build it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'll find out. But typically what we see is, they might just pull the trigger and do it. Sometimes what happens is they will build the building and frame it out. It'll be able to cut it out and put a garage door in there if they have to. But I'll have an answer for you by the next meeting, what their plan is moving forward if things kick off quickly.
Okay, and I don't want to beat this one up because it's been talked about enough, but I was a little puzzled by the snow storage just because it did seem like, based on the number of, if you look at the amount of plowable space and then you look at the snow storage area, it just seems so small. The back, can you just say again, in the rear by the rail trail, that's a fence or a wall with a fence?
It's, so in this area here, from here to here, it's a fence, 6-foot-high fence. And then starting here, it's a wall with a 4-foot fence on top of it.
And is that fence the property line?
Yes,
It
it will
is.
be, it will be on the property line.
So you can't plow there. And like I said, I don't want to keep going over it, you'll look into it, but we do worry about obstructed view pulling out. And it looks like a good amount of your snow is on the front area. So I think that should be, you know,
That's a
look
good
at that. That's all I have right now.
Paul?
A lot of good comments, won't reiterate. My only thing is that, is there anything in here that talks about the structure, the fence that you talk about in that back? In the event that a truck was to, roll towards that fence, by the time it reaches that fence, could it break the fence and, go on the rail trail? So I'm thinking more public safety, what would prohibit a truck if it left the bay, per se?
Yeah. Good point. It will definitely go through that fence. It's your basic 6-foot vinyl fence. But like I pointed out earlier, if you go back there, if you have a walk back there, and if you look at your plans, I know, again, it's hard to see, there's Jersey barriers all along here.
Okay.
I don't know who put them in, but it will hit the Jersey barriers before it gets to the rail trail.
Okay.
So the Jersey barriers are created, and I don't know if the current owner put it up, I don't know if the town put them up, but we have no plans on taking them out.
Okay. All right, yeah, no other questions, Jack.
Okay. I think the town put them up because the crap was starting to get closer there and the rail trail, and they used that for their little ATVs to go up and down, so I guess it was the town. I don't think the owners put that up. Now, I mentioned about, you gotta start with the fire chief on that stuff. You answered the question I had about the snow dump. Now, the one thing, a couple, my questions, on the handicap in the front, you got them at the two ends. How does that help the middle, though? Won't you run into a problem or not?
It's based on the number of spaces based on the number
No,
of
I understand,
parking.
but if this was a building, and I went through it, being on the library, been on the building, is you gotta put them as close to where you're going in. Now, if you only had one door this side, one door that, I'd say, but if someone's in the middle, now what do you do?
I suppose you could put I've seen it, we could put both the spaces in the middle, so you could have the spot and two spaces, and then,
Okay, that's where I'm going. Before, go down and see the building commissioner, Mr. Crowley, and ask him what he thinks. Because you're doing it in base, which I don't have an issue with, but it's just like anything else. The handicap space is supposed to be the closest to the door. Well, given you get 6 doors, you're close to each end, but not the middle. So it may be just like you said, you split it in thirds. So you want to find that out before you do your final plan.
okay.
The snow storage we talked about, I did that one. As I'm looking at the original plan, I assume all the, what do you call it, targets over there, those are all the wells from the previous testing that you show on the existing plan?
Yeah, wherever it says wells or borings,
It's boring, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's-
those are from the previous.
to them.
Okay. Another question. I know Katie talked about what's in the ground. How about the building itself?
I don't know. I'll find out.
I mean.
I imagine they probably did an assessment, but I'll find
I
out.
mean, that doesn't come under us, but since we're the only public hearing for this, I think the neighbors want to know if there's anything and what it is. My understanding, before you get a demo permit, you'd have to show the thing is clean. And that would go through the building department, so just want to bring it up to everybody here so they understand that you're not just coming in and knocking it over one day and poof.
Right.
So, because I know the building's pretty old and stuff. Based upon what's there now, you could have grown weeds on that site and it still looked better. So.
Did you say weeds or weed?
Weeds. Well, you could grow real weed and sell it, but snow dump, you answer that, I always wondered why you couldn't. And that was all I had for the moment. Oh, a simple one, because John, everybody's looking at the colors. I assume your PDF has colors?
Yes.
Do we have one, Kate, or
I'm sorry,
a
what?
PDF of this?
Of the colored one, we can send that to you.
Yeah, if you would. Makes it easier for us to look at, too, and see all the distinguishing. The other thing, and you call, and everybody's going through the front, through the doors, and the back is the garages, okay? That's why I was questioning about the handicap. That's all I have for the moment. I'll open it up to anybody from the audience if they want to come up. The podium, tell us your name and any questions, and we'll see who can answer for them.
Sure, okay. I'm Drew Womack, 113 South Street. This is me here. That's my swimming pool. That's me. This over here, the right-of-way you guys were talking about, is the right-of-way to the town forest to get to the trails and stuff like that. My Bethany's over here. In its current state, it's terrible eyesore. If you've ever been by it. Anything would be an improvement. Just a flat piece of brown will be an improvement. A daisy field will be an improvement. Anything that, just to clean it up will be fantastic. Let's see. I forgot all the questions that I thought I was going to ask a second ago. As far as the use, is there going to be a change of use on the property? Because currently, on South Street, we have a home. This I believe is light industrial right here, and then this is another home. So you have housing, light industrial, and then housing. So it skips 1, 2, housing, light industrial, housing, light industrial. This right here is the other light industrial area. So now we have a change that we go from housing to 2 light industrials. Is it gonna stay light industrial and
Yeah.
have the change or restrictions as far as time when business is done there?
It's going to operate like any other business on there. It's zoned for limited manufacturing, so they're limited to what everyone else has to do, like that one, and even up across from Heinz's, the new one on the landscaper.
Yep.
Just like that. They'll operate the same.
But it looks like the house on the right is being torn down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. I'm saying that the
So it's
zoning
just-
would change from.
Yeah,
Whatever, the zone won't change. The zoning stays, you'd have to do a zoning, but what's allowed there will stay. And I believe that house might be in limited manufacturing. I'm not sure.
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, so, but nothing, what they're trying to do is what's allowed there already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, would there be any idea of, as far as, maybe would they be trying to sell cars and vehicles out? Because that's what this is turned into, is a little sales yard for trucks, vans, snowplows,
Okay?
storage, and garbage are all in the back.
Well, those, yeah, that's a whole nother thing, you go talk to the Tuesday night crew, but any sale or resale of cars has to go through the selectmen, they gotta give them a permit. So if they're doing that now, they're in violation of zoning, and it's up to the
Okay.
building inspector. It's like anything, anybody, they could start selling anything, but if they can't do it, you gotta report them, that's all.
Okay. As far as the sign, was the signage on the building itself or out in the front along the street side?
It's on the street.
It's on the street, so it's a standing sign that would be in my front window.
No, are you across the street?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it would be sideways, I think. It would be,
I mean, facing my house, yeah. Or would it be, I mean, there's not a lot of room to go.
It's probably perpendicular.
This
right,
way.
it's gonna be perpendicular to the street.
One of the things about the sign bylaw, you gotta be under 4 feet or up high, and they're not going up high, because you gotta be whatever you can see for a car, so it's gonna be a low slung one.
Okay, all right. And she's already said they've addressed the lighting. The lighting on the buildings are going to be anywhere between 6 and 14 feet, I believe.
But it
Focus down towards the house.
Yeah.
Focus down towards the building, not the house.
yeah.
I hope we get something fun like this. Something that looks nice and is well maintained would be a welcome sight on the street compared to what is there right now.
Yeah, no, just about anything.
Yes, sir?
You can come in first. I'll go after. Thank you.
Hi, Josette Burke, 94 South Street. I've been there almost 60 years. I'm not against the plan, state that at first. I am surprised you don't have anything from Conservation, because Drew and I were at the Conservation meeting a couple of weeks ago, and there were a lot of restrictions that were put down specifically that there should be no more dumping in there. Mr. Gomes owns the property. These people are in the process of attempting to purchase it depending upon if they get all their permits. But Mr. Gomes still owns it. So Mr. Gomes had his trucks were going up the road last week, open back trucks with all the grass clippings and branches, stopped in the middle of the road, got out, left his door open, stopped traffic on both ends of the street to open the gate to go in to dump. So obviously with the history of the individual, everybody knows him. He's not paying attention, and he'd rather pay a penalty than do what he's supposed to do. As far as the planning board goes, I was interested, and thank you, Katie, for bringing it up. I was very involved with EPA from the 80s with both sides of the street. We did the police department, we got the senior center going, and this here we want to have as to the best that it can be for what we have for rules and regulations at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you said that the walking trail was equal to the street. It is not. There's no part of that walking trail that is equal to the street. If you do the walking trail, there's a big drop-off that has trucks and old wood and stuff, which I honestly can't remember, but it may be on the other side of the barrier that you're talking about, that the town has put up. But my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this is all supposed to be cleaned up as part of this project, that whole area with the trucks and the wood and everything that's stored at the back of the building. You're not familiar with the building because you got that look on your face that I don't know what she's even talking
I
about.
know exactly what you're talking about, but it's, you know,
Is that part of the project?
we'll definitely be taking the building down and cleaning up everything in that area. Some of it is being dumped on the town's property. So I was.
Interesting.
I was the board. I just make it a condition of
Yeah, that, because if you're walking the trail there, if you've been in the back of it, and I think only since the trail has been in existence, that people can now see the back of that building. And it's been deplorable for years, and toilets and tubs and everything has been dumped there from previous contractors. There also has been automotive stuff. They had 10 or 15 trucks parked, as you may know, for decades in the front of the building. My safety concern is, living where I live, I back into my driveway to come out facing the traffic. I honestly, and I don't know what restrictions you can or cannot put in, but I think it would be safer if you had one way going in, one way exiting, to have them be able to go in both and exit the same way. The traffic on that street is too busy, and in my opinion, even with lamplighter across the street, there are almost accidents there all the time. And there's a clear view. So I think for a new business coming in, to restrict it to one way, going in and coming out, in the long run is going to be safer. And I don't know if that's a restriction you can put in or you would want to put in. But having lived there for as long as I have, and knowing that I cannot back out of my driveway at almost any given time between all the trucks and cars on that road. So something you may not be thinking of, but as somebody who lives there, it is a concern. And the more young drivers we have up the street that come flying down the street, despite the fact that there's a sign now telling them what their speed limit is, you can hear them jam the brakes on at the end of South Street coming onto Common. So the long and the short of it, I think it'll be a vast improvement. I agree with all of you, it'll be a vast improvement, and I'm looking forward to be it done, but I want it to be done to the best that it can be done by what we have for rules and regulations now, because they've been so abused previously.
All right, a couple questions. Did you ask for waiver from the traffic study?
Yes.
All right, so what we got someone, the way I look at it, we have someone here says it's a lot of traffic. So to me, either do a traffic study, and if it shows you can do in and out, if not, you might have to consider one way. That would be an option. Do you understand what I'm saying, Josette? So
Yeah.
they can prove one way or another?
Yeah.
So either or. The other thing is dealings with the Concom. I know you're familiar with the way we do things. We don't, if they want to close the hearing before they're done with Concom, it's their risk, but if we close it and the plan changes, he's got to come back. So typically, we wait for their comments, and I think they're going to have to wait to see what they're doing, if you're going to move anything. So I have a feeling we're the last ones in the parade, would you say?
You have to go before
We're gonna
conservation again?
we're gonna ask tonight for the board to continue this to November 2nd, right? And then I think we're meeting with Concom November 8th, so.
But you, in theory, you wouldn't want to close until you close with them here. So we're just at the end of it, and any changes that they want, he's going to have to put on his plan and then give it to us. And I think he understands if he closes it with us, and there's a change, he starts the process all over again.
We don't really want that. Just do it right the first time.
Yeah, and the other one is the conditions, which you're talking about, Josette. You've gone to the meetings with the Concom?
Yes. So has Drew.
You didn't look like...
No comment, no comment.
But
Marshmallows.
have they talked about the crap that needs to be cleaned up there?
Yes, they have.
Is that going to be in theirs?
Well, it was that night. They put restrictions on that there should be a sign stating that there is no dumping. I don't see any sign. I don't know about you, Drew.
No, I just see trucks going in and out.
Yes, trucks are still going in and dumping.
But they'll probably make a condition that before they give, before it is allowed to go forward, they have to clean it up. Are they going to put that in their order?
I honestly don't know. It was discussed.
Well, yeah, then we can put it in there. How enforceable it is. One thing I'd recommend is it's what the most enforceable one is at the end of the road, that the selectmen want it cleaned up and that they can't give them a building permit until such time it is. That's the one that really gets them.
Okay.
It doesn't get lost, because once it gets out of here, as you know, it's down in Mr. Crowley's office, so if he has something from the selectmen that says it has to be cleaned,
Okay.
because I've heard over the years that, they've been dumping there. Well, the guys in blue alleged that, but I didn't see any film of it, but...
He's got film.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yes, he's got
Never
film.
mind. Okay, but, yeah, we could consider putting it in there. We'll see what the conservation and make recommendations that the building permit shouldn't be issued until such time that it's cleaned up. I assume that they're gonna do that. If not, probably be a long time. And I think, does that take care of everything?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Sharp. I live at 135 South Street. I would like to agree with my neighbors about the dumping. It is frequent. And frankly, this is the first time I'm learning that the property line ends around the building, because they dump continuously leaves until the Jersey barrier. So I did want to, especially with the snow removal problem, that you all mentioned, I did want to mention a concern about potentially continuing to take over that piece of land for even snow dumping or anything like that. As mentioned, I'm also not opposed to this. It is quite an awful building currently. Did just want to mention the concerns on that. I also had a couple of clarifying questions. My understanding is that there's going to be multiple bays. Is there office buildings on top, like with the building next door?
No.
Okay.
No, what they're proposing right now is a one-story. If you go down and look at the what do you call it, Brown's Landscaping, it's like that. He doesn't have a second story either.
Okay. I
Doesn't
think
mean they can't ask for mezzanine at some time, but I don't know if the height of the building would allow it for that, but it's,
okay.
you know,
Sorry.
I don't mean, I interrupt you. If you want to see other places, it looks like it. Do you know where West Sand is on West Street, past Swan Pond?
I don't. I've actually only lived here for a year, so I'm still getting
All right,
acclimated.
if you go, there's another building down there that this looks very similar to. That's the new way of doing things for, landscapers need a place to put their stuff, everyone else does, so that's the new way of doing it. And he didn't have offices either.
Okay.
So they're pretty much doing them like this.
Okay. Thank you. The other question I had was maybe not answerable, but I guess South Street is a busy street. Despite, that property currently is abandoned, and then there's a home there with a very sweet, very quiet family, in my experience. So this definitely will change the neighborhood from a busyness side of things. So I did want to reiterate some concerns about potential traffic and just frankly hours. While there are, there is that industrial building across the street from my house, they are fairly quiet and they work a very standard business hours. They do start a little earlier in the morning than normal, but they're quiet by about 5. So I did just want to voice a potential concern about hours that the building would be open for.
The hours are set by the town.
Okay.
We already have standards that every business has to abide by. If they wanted something different, they have to come in front of the selectmen, explain why, but they are set. So what can be done here is what can be done next door, but they can't do anything more than what the town currently allows.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? All right,
One more comment I'd like to make.
okay.
On the lighting plan, page LT1, if you could put a little chart just showing the number of the different types of lights that you're going to be using, the wall mounts or any freestanding ones, on that page somewhere.
If you look on the plan sheet on the building,
It shows.
we say typical of 2 or whatever the number is, but I can create a chart, yes.
Thank you.
I just want to make a statement regarding build-out. Even if they had the height, they have to conform to our parking, because you go by the number of square feet, so that would up the square feet, so the more they put there, the more parking, and they don't have enough. So that would limit them too, but typically, it's just that long and narrow bay, whoever wants to go in there. I don't have anything. You all set? All right, so I think, just to summarize, you talked to deputy, if I call him deputy, but I think you got a promotion, fire chief Barry. You have to get that straight, and then whatever the conservation and what you guys want to do, whether you want to do a traffic study or just in and out, whatever way you want to do it, and whatever else the other minor things. Basically what I see in here is you're going to get some of the other stuff settled before it's going to matter to us.
Right, so that's why I want to push it off for a month, give us time to do these
You want
things.
to push it after the Concom?
No, I'd like to come in November 2nd, because by that time I'll have resubmitted to you, to Kyle, and to Conservation, and if I have to come back again, I'll come back again, so.
All right, so you don't have another meeting with Conservation until the 8th of November?
The 8th of November.
Are you that close to being done with them?
If you look at that plan, it's very tiny. The only portion of the site that falls under their jurisdiction is down here. So it's, you own the whole site, they own this very small portion of the site, so there's not a lot to do for them. It's mostly comments we've received from you, from
Okay.
the stormwater.
Just want to make sure I know where we are. Do we need an extension, Kate? All right, can we have extension up through the end of November?
Sure.
Through,
Want me to write, is there a form?
yeah, we're going to need it anyway, but through November 30th, correct?
Sure.
Okay, we'll grant an extension up through November 30th, 2023, for the site plan on 12126 South Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from, take your pick. It was a tie. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, and what do we got, the 8th?
We have 715 104 Main Street.
We're not sure where they're going, so, put them, 7:20, I guess, because we got the other one at 7:05, right? Did we continue one to,
We have one at 7:15 on the 2nd.
705 was
Oh.
October 19th, that was
oh, okay.
Kearsarge.
Okay, never mind. Then put it right after them, and if they're here, they're here. If they're going forward, if not, we'll just continue that like we did, and they'll pick up from there. So, we'll continue this hearing on November 8th, November 2nd, at 7:20. Okay? That's the next time, no more notice.
November 2nd.
November 2nd. Yep.
And November 8th is
Conservation, yeah. All right. Thank you. Night. Oh, Josette? Josette, you know there's no snow storage on the police or the...
Excuse me?
There's no snow storage up in either the police station or the elderly thing.
No, there isn't.
I know there isn't, because they just went, they didn't want to come here.
They wanted to Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Never snowed in the police station.
No, snow storage. They didn't do anything. They just kind of waved the magic wand because they're a municipal thing.
Keep a whole pile of trash laying. Didn't you want me candy?
Do you want it, John?
Yes, I would like that.
Hey.
That's Paul's.
Okay. Garden Estates, we got something?
I didn't receive anything.
Really? All
I
that?
asked him for a sample. He sent me a sample, but I did not receive the actual bond, and he's not here, so
Okay.
nothing, I'll put him up for the next agenda.
Well, wait until he asks.
Right.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Subdivision plan update. I left mine.
Yeah.
So,
Should be in your packet.
don't have
You
it.
don't have, the one that I left
It's
tonight.
probably with,
No, the one that I left tonight.
wait,
The
tonight?
manila folder.
You probably got it.
No, it's right there, it's Jack.
This?
In
It should be in there.
This?
Yeah. No, the red one.
That's Katie's.
What do you need?
Here we go.
All right. These are all subdivision, we got stuff left to do, and what we want to do here is get it going before it gets any worse, okay? So Boyden Estates still got, we'll go one by one. Boyden Estates, you see, we still got stuff that needs to be done. Next one is Echo Estates. Not to take it, what I see, Kyle, is Boyden, he's gotta do a couple little things,
Very little in the field for Boyden.
and so that's it, so that's more, but all his paperwork's in, huh?
It is,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He really, the most outstanding item there is to get a certificate of compliance from Concom,
Okay,
and then go through the residence hearing and whatnot.
yeah, yeah. We got as-bills and stuff for Echo, so he doesn't have any physical, everything else is,
A little bit of physical, some cleaning, and there's some issues. There's no gate. We need a gate to be able to get into the detention basin, or there needs to be a gate for the detention basin. But really, the work in the subdivision is done. It's really paperwork.
okay. How hard is it to get sign-offs from DOT?
That I tried. I took a stab at that because one of those permits was in the town's name. The other one was in the original applicant's. We made some progress, but it remarkably, it just went to a standstill.
Moving on.
If push came to shove, if everything else were done, I would go by that.
Alright, and.
But we didn't accomplish anything this year. I think I finally
Yeah,
got
it's,
as-bills for, this is all in regard to Echo.
Yep. Hunter Lane.
Is that for you?
Hunter Lane, well, I don't know where that is.
That's off of Common Street on the,
Oh, that's
on the other side of Washington Street, towards Route 1 on the left.
Yeah, that's Petrossi's buddy there, the digger.
Yeah, Hugo
We
DiMartino.
still got a bond on that, correct?
We do. I spoke with Hugo earlier this week. I don't know why that's been so long. It's not meant to be accepted, it's a private way.
No, I
And it-
understand, but we're still,
And it really just needs to be paved and a very minor other things.
we'll hold his bond, but I mean, we have to do that too to make sure it gets done, whether it's public or private, but, yep.
Right.
All right, Kingswood.
Kingswood is one of the rare ones. He actually got some things done this summer.
Oh, the one way down in the back?
That's Bubbling Brook Extension.
Oh, that's a different than Kingswood? Is Kingswood the two lots? It's all the rock down by the
Todd Taylor.
Westwood line?
Tom Taylor.
Yeah, 2 lots, I guess.
Tom Hill, way down there, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say that. You can't say that.
All right, Ross Common, the mystery. The mystery continues.
That's never gonna go away.
I understand, I forget who I heard it from, Kyle, that the guy who owns the lot says he's responsible to do final pavement on GG's. Did you hear that?
I've heard all kinds of things, Mr. Chairman.
But I also saw that being marketed again.
I've also heard that as well.
Did he sell, do you think?
I know it's listed.
The kid who bought it, is he getting out of there? Is that what's happening?
That's right.
Okay. Okay. And one of the things we have on, unless you got it here, Kyle, I'm not reading everything. He also has to go through, what's the guy's name from the Ponset?
NEPRA.
What?
NEPRA,
What's that?
the Ponset River Watershed
Is that on
Association.
here? Oh, there it is, yep.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, number 7, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's,
And I really don't know where they are on that, but I've left it with them and said, get me a letter that says that that everybody's squared away.
With
And I haven't seen that letter yet.
Are they allowed to sell with all that outstanding?
yeah, they got a bond, it just means they got, the bond is incredible, right? Are we still over $1 million?
Well, no, you'll notice, I gave you a cover letter with these things, and I listed out what my understanding of the values are retained for, that we have for these, and I have a,
No, I saw the value cut, but I'm just talking, I don't think we ever reduced Ross Common. He came in here, wanted to get it reduced, and then walked away and never came back.
I think it's reduced to $750, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can check that.
But I'm not sure that I've listed 410-800, and there was a request to do that. I don't think it was ever posted.
All right, just for everybody who wasn't here, I don't think anybody. Ross Commons is an open space. Open space, you got all the open space that's owned by the whole subdivision. Typically, we only bond the road, but because it's open space, that's considered part of our work, and they went in and trashed a lot of the stuff, which typically doesn't happen. The Ponset River Associates, I don't know if that's their name, you had to designate, either would have been the conservation or them to ensure it stays prim and proper, and they went in about a year and a half ago and found that they were dumping and doing a lot of stuff. So that's why that's gonna be part of the bond, because they have to make it right before we release everything. So that's something a little different, never had before, but of course, most of them were nothing anyway. You weren't here for the one up at, across from the, bar, My Lord. Christina?
Krista, actually, that started when I was here
All right,
before.
but there was nothing, they didn't do anything there. It
Yeah.
was treated like their backyard, so.
Right.
All right. What I'd like to do is make a motion that we send these to all the developers here, and also the same letter, either their bank or their bonding company, or, I don't think anybody has cash, right? Okay? So we just send it to alert them that we're way behind. Let's get it going so this can get on for the spring town meeting. And
How does the bank get notified? Is that like return receipt? Is that a special mailing?
no, we'll just send a normal mailing, whoever's listed.
And does that have effect on the banks, that they actually go after the developers, or?
Well, now all of a sudden, they're gonna look at something that's 2 years old, what are they
Yeah.
doing, why aren't they done?
Yeah.
And the bank should kinda like, let's get going, same thing with the bonding company, the little bonding company gets paid every year. Correct?
Well, some are 3 years, but yes.
But, yeah, insurance people always get paid.
I mean, I'll note, Mr. Chairman, even for spring, it's
Well-
gonna be a push, because really, they've gotta be all squared away and released and whatnot by
A lot of
December.
these are, what do you call it? Some of them are just paper they can get.
More or less,
So we
yeah.
want to push them for the spring. If you tell them for next fall, they'll wake up about July 3rd and say, oh.
And that's really too late, because the warrant is
That's
set
why I
up pretty
wanna push
early.
it. So we have a letter to that effect. What about Portland? Was that one of those?
That's also in there, very,
Oh, there it is. I'm
small,
sorry.
small progress over the year, but still a number, and there's some field items to still take care of there, and I haven't got an as-built, I've got an acceptance plan that we
Kate,
reviewed.
If you could ask in that letter a response to when you think you have it, please give it to us by November, whatever our next meeting date is, so this doesn't languish. Then we start hitting them again.
Okay.
Get past that. All right. Next one, master plan. Whatever Judy's gonna do, I think you all read the thing, is if she gets all the comments, she sends us back the PDF, we can all take a shot at it if we think. And then give them back to her, and then she can do just kind of way I outlined it, get it going.
Yes, Mr. Chair, so just to clarify, I have the PDF for all the changes that Judy had already sent.
When were those done, though?
Oh, I mentioned the last meeting, she had already made all of them. Yeah,
Well,
I
what
mentioned that.
was the date? Because I keep hearing stuff, Phil, that
No.
you guys met in September,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Did you
so-
have changes?
So the only changes that were made after the last steering committee meeting was changes that I heard at this meeting. And that was 3 changes. It was to change the list of planning board members to include Paul and to note that Sarah had gone off the board.
Yep.
And then the other change was I just had her put on the title, on the cover, the date that the steering committee had approved the plan. And that's the only changes made. And I have a PDF with those 3 in it. And that's all there is. There's no other changes in progress that I know
All
of.
right, I hope she dated the PDF so we know.
Yep,
when-
yep,
Okay.
yep.
So
I
you
can-
have it?
I have it, I can put it out. It wasn't a big deal because I figured it was just 3 minor changes. I mentioned it at the last meeting and said that was she
So
did.
now we can start looking at it for the next step. For
Yeah, I
our
mean, it's the
application.
same, the PDF is exactly the same as this, with the exception of the cover and the first page. That's the only difference in it. Everything else is the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, send it
So-
on to us, so
so-
we have that one.
Yeah.
All right. And
And so we sent the letter, so that's good. I mean, I saw that you did that. And I saw Jim Johnson's email, so I would certainly would expect to be part of that next step as well, working with Judy.
there's
on
no,
that.
what's next step?
Oh,
The steps
to
were-
arrange the date. Yeah,
Well, basically, well, I gave her what
You got, yeah.
I told her come in January, and then we
Yeah.
can get, and that would
Yeah.
be the last time, and then from there, we do it on our own and vote on it that first week of February, if
Yeah.
we get back.
Yeah.
I gave some time, because I didn't want to push us for December, because if we just get it in a couple days, and then we review it, all of a sudden, December's upon us, so that's why I kind of pushed it off, the month kind of did anyway, so, okay. All right. Steering committee. Who wants to be on it?
I would offer to be on if no one else does, but
Waiting, no one else is moving, Phil. So everybody wants on step forward, right? That's what we do? All right. Phil, you want to be on it? Okay.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
In our response, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, so it's fine if you disagree with me, but I feel, and I said this at the last meeting, and I felt this way after we set the master plan steering committee also, and I realized it. And when we were going back and forth, there was so much back and forth on setting that committee, that I understand how we overlooked it. But I feel like someone from the ZBA should be on this.
Well, I don't know even what the letter said.
It says, planning board, select board. It says 1 planning board, 1 select board, 2 residents at large, and community economic development director, ex officio member. But I really think someone, just a perfect example is all the time that they put into that zoning with the in-laws. And then, zoning said, we don't agree with that, just like we, had our opinions. I think it would be beneficial to everyone to have zoning involved, and I understand we're not the ones setting the committee, and I'm not trying to dictate to them who they put on the committee, but in case it was oversight, maybe when we respond and say Phil's our person, could we nicely say something to the effect of, the setup of the committee is clearly your decision, but we would like to suggest that
consideration.
perhaps someone from ZBA should be included. Respectfully.
Yeah, we can say that Kate said.
You like to say that.
Why not?
She got into the candy.
Well, we also said sewer water, but I see they're not doing that. So don't
I know, and it's hard, and we remember it's hard from when we set
You
the
have too
master
many.
plan steering.
All right.
You have so many.
Just to make it official, make Phil, nominate Phil. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second, John, all in favor, Phil?
Aye.
Okay, so Phil, and you say Phil's a nominee, and with that, if they consider adding the zoning board member.
Zoning board might not want to, but I just think, I don't know.
For KTA. All right, is that it? That's it, all right.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all done.